You know that moment when your gut tells you something's wrong? When the air feels heavy, like the world itself is holding its breath. That's what I felt the night I looked up and saw a man's face in the window. We thought he was just a weird classmate, quiet, awkward, harmless. We were so wrong. Because a few years later, that same face would appear again, on the news for murder. If you've ever felt that icy chill of realizing danger was closer than you thought, hit that like button, subscribe, and buckle up, because this story will make you double-check your locks tonight. I grew up in a quiet town, the kind where everyone knows your name, your dog's name, and exactly how long your mom's been dating her new boyfriend. So when my friend Emily's mom went out of town one weekend, it was the talk of our little high school circle. Everyone expected a party. Emily was popular, outgoing, the kind of girl who made everything fun. But for whatever reason, she canceled. Maybe she was nervous about getting caught. Maybe she just didn't feel right about it. Either way, it ended up being just the two of us, a quiet girls' night. Movies, snacks, too much soda, harmless fun. The house itself sat on the edge of town, backed up to a tree line that led to an old field. It always felt a little too quiet out there. You could hear the wind move through the branches, like whispers just out of reach. Around midnight, as we were half watching a rom-com, half scrolling through our phones, we heard it. Scrape. Then again. Scrape, scrape. It sounded like metal on wood coming from the back of the house. Emily muted the TV. We both stared at each other, frozen, half laughing because, of course, it had to be a prank. Someone from school trying to freak us out. But then it kept happening. Longer. Slower. Deliberate. Do you think it's Jake in them? She whispered. I shrugged, trying to sound braver than I felt. Yeah, probably. They're just messing around. But when we went to look, there was nothing. The backyard was empty. Just the porch light flickering on the edge of the woods. We went back inside, trying to laugh it off. But the noise started again. And this time it was closer. Emily grabbed a flashlight, her hands shaking, and we crept toward the hall. The scraping had moved from the back to the side of the house. Every step sounded too loud on the hardwood. My heart was pounding in my ears. I remember thinking, if this is a joke, I'm going to kill them. When we reached the front window, I pulled the curtain just an inch, just enough to peek. And that's when I saw him. A face. Right there. Inches from the glass. His eyes were wide, unfocused, and his hair, this jagged, uneven cut, was unmistakable. It was Ryan. Everyone in town knew Ryan. He was that quiet kid who always lingered at the edge of things, in the cafeteria, at football games, outside the convenience store. Always watching, never speaking. Some said he had a rough home life. Others said he just wasn't all there. But no one thought he was dangerous. Until that night. Emily gasped. He moved fast, disappearing from the window. We both screamed and bolted for the phone. The police came within minutes, sirens lighting up the street like a Christmas parade. They searched the property and found pry marks on the back bedroom window. He had been trying to get in. We told them who we saw. They nodded, wrote things down, and promised to look into it. And that was it. No arrest. No warning. Just two terrified girls left to sleep with the lights on. For weeks afterward, every creak of that house made my skin crawl. But time passed. We graduated. Moved on. Until years later, when everything came back. It was a humid summer morning when I saw his name again, on the front page of the local paper. Local man arrested for brutal murder. I froze. The photo showed that same hollow-eyed face I'd seen pressed against the window. The details were horrifying. A woman, living alone on the outskirts of town, not far from where Emily's mom used to live. Ryan had broken into her home in the middle of the night. She didn't survive. The police said he'd been stalking her for weeks. Watching. Waiting. Just like he had with us. My hands were trembling so hard I dropped the paper. I couldn't stop thinking, what if he'd gotten in that night? The thought haunted me. For months, I'd dream about that shadow in the window, that distorted outline of his head against the glass. Emily and I reconnected at the funeral for the victim. It felt surreal. Like the universe had shown us a preview of something evil, and we barely escaped it. Ryan was sentenced to life in prison. The town mourned the woman he killed, and then they tore her house down. Couldn't bear to look at it anymore. Just an empty lot now. A scar on our little town. But for me, justice came in a quieter way. One night, I drove past that empty field. The moonlight hit the grass in just the right way, and for a split second, I saw it again. That same window. That same shadow. But this time, I didn't feel fear. I felt something else. Because even though we were just two scared teenagers that night, we did the right thing. We called for help. We named him. And maybe, just maybe, that stopped someone else from dying sooner. Evil doesn't always come with a warning. Sometimes it just stands outside your window, waiting to be noticed. They say you never really know what someone's capable of until it's too late. But I'll never forget the lesson that night taught me. Trust your instincts. Because sometimes, that uneasy feeling is the only thing standing between you and something truly horrific. If this story gave you chills, smash that like button and tell me in the comments, have you ever had that gut feeling that something wasn't right? And if you love stories where justice, karma, or sheer survival takes the spotlight, hit subscribe. Because